Hello and welcome to the Angling Flaneurs. Today we're at Kurfurstendamm and we'll be looking at the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church, and we'll be taking a brief look down the main shopping area of West Berlin. I guess the London equivalent would be something like Regent Street or Oxford Street perhaps. Kurfurstendamm is over 2 miles long, so we're taking a really brief look at it today. Hopefully we'll be back in the future to give it the respect it deserves. Also, we'll be looking at a new football rivalry that has emerged across the city that really represents reunification and the struggles with that process. We're looking at these awful pictures of Kurfurstendamm and Kaiser Wilhelm Church just after the end of the Second World War in 1945. There's a strong parallel between Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church and Coventry Cathedral, and we'll see the pictures coming up now of the ruins of Coventry Cathedral. Coventry rebuilt its cathedral next to the old ruins, and something similar has happened here. In the early shots of the vlog, we saw the new Kaiser Wilhelm Church next to the ruins. The original church was built in the 1890s, and it was dedicated by Kaiser Wilhelm II to his grandfather, Kaiser Wilhelm I. The foundation stone was laid on the 22nd of March 1891, which was Kaiser Wilhelm's I's birthday, and the church was dedicated in September 1895. The church was extensively damaged on an air raid on the 23rd of November in 1943. It was damaged but not beyond repair. A decision was made just after the war to not rebuild the church but leave it as a memorial to the victims of the Second World War and a reminder of the horrors of war, and the new church was built in 1963. And here we can see evidence of a service for the twinning of the two great cities, Coventry and Berlin, and of the two places of worship, Coventry Cathedral and the Kaiser Wilhelm Church. Today, the Memorial Church in Berlin is a famous landmark and is nicknamed by Berliners as the Hohle Zahn, meaning the hollow tooth. Apologies for terrible pronunciation there. The new church was designed by Egon Eiermann, and it consists of 4 buildings grouped around the remaining ruins of the old church. In his original plans, Eiermann wanted to take down the ruined tower, but this met much opposition. For Berliners, it symbolised the heart of Berlin. Within the old church there is an iconic cross of the Russian Orthodox Church and a cross made of nails from Coventry Cathedral. We're now back onto Kurfurstendamm, and you'll see many famous brands around the world, if that's your thing. Brands like Versace, Valentino, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Gucci, Chanel, and many more. So if retail shopping is your nirvana, then this is the place to come. I did get dragged into this place, Cathy Woolfarm, which is a Christmas decoration shop, and I have to admit it was quite an amazing experience. The workmanship and quality was second to none. I got dragged into a few other places, but it didn't last too long. We're making our way to the famous Berliner beer salon, which is, if you want some decent food, a beer, and to watch some football, it's the place to go. There's a vast expanse of space here and it has numerous TV screens, so it's very much like a generic sports bar that you would get in the UK. And we'll see lots of scarves of German football teams, most of them in the Bundesliga, and you'll see some foreign teams as well. I think from an English perspective, there is a Liverpool scarf here as well. And the people at the bar say this is very much a home supporters bar, and the home support being those of Herta Berlin. Herta Berlin was very much the team of West Berlin, and we'll look into the new rivalry that is occurring across East and West Berlin. We'll be looking at Union Berlin, which was very much the team of East Berlin, and we'll be showing you a map of where the two teams play. So you'll see Herta very much from the west and Union very much from the east. The football rivalry between Herta and Union Berlin is a very new rivalry. They only met for the first time in the top flight in November of 2019. Union won that game 1-0 from a Sebastian Polter penalty, who I remember playing for QPR 4 or 5 years ago. However, later on in the season, Herta got their revenge by winning 4-0. And here is a picture of Union Berlin fans celebrating their East German Cup winning team of 1968. The club had been formed 2 years earlier in 1966. The dominant East Berlin teams were Vorwärts Berlin and BFC Dynamo. This is Union Berlin's new ground, the Alta Forsteri. After reunification, there was an amalgamation of the leagues and of the teams, and Herta had just been promoted to the top division, the Bundesliga, and Union Berlin found themselves in the third tier of German football. The next 20 years or so were a real struggle for Union Berlin. They found themselves in financial difficulty, and they found themselves at one stage in the fourth tier of German football. But they did find themselves in the German Cup final in 2001 and therefore earned a place in the UEFA Cup for the following season. And we can see the ground and where in Berlin Union Berlin play. Back in 2009, Union Berlin clinched promotion to the second division, but the German football authorities, the DFB, threatened to close down the ground because it wasn't fit for purpose. So the club needed a new ground and they had very little money in order to get into the second division. So what did they do? Well, the club got together with the fans and rebuilt the stadium. 1,600 volunteers put in something like 98,000 hours of work and saved the club many millions of euros, and they were able to rebuild their stadium in time for the new season. Something like 60 to 80 Union Berlin fans would turn up every morning at 7 o'clock for work. Now that is truly a great football story. One fan described the club as a big family bond bound together by more than just football. In his words, Union is a social event. We've got the spirit of a neighbourhood club where everyone sticks together. FC Union Berlin had been founded in 1906 by metal workers in the industrial district of Köpenick in the east of the city. Before the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, in East Germany, Union Berlin's biggest rivals were BFC Dynamo, a club run by the dreaded Stasi police. And in the words of one fan, we hated the BFC Dynamo, we hated the Secret Service, we hated the Berlin Wall. We were in opposition to the state. That's why in the 1980s there were over 20,000 people in the Union Stadium every match and only 5,000 people at the BFC Dynamo Stadium. The club, as I've said, often faced financial difficulties, and there were fan protests at Berlin-Brandenburg Gates to force the city government to transform the stadium into club property. And in 2004, Union supporters donated blood to earn enough funds for the club to get German Football Federation approval to play the next season. Herta Berlin, affectionately known as the Old Lady, played at the Olympic Stadium, and we'll show you some video vlogs of our trip to the stadium. We didn't go inside, but we'll just show you the outside. The head coach of Herta Berlin very much sees the club as the whole of Berlin, or represented the entire 12 districts of Berlin. But generally there is a very healthy relationship between the two sets of fans. Even before 1989, when Union played other Eastern European teams, many Herta Berlin fans would go over and support them. In 1979, Union Berlin played Slavia Prague in the UEFA Cup quarter-final in Prague, and over half the attendance of 30,000 had travelled from both sides of Berlin. Just 2 days after the Berlin Wall had fallen in 1989, Hertha played Wattenscheid in the second division of the Bundesliga, and over 44,000 fans packed the Olympic Stadium to witness a 1-1 draw between the two teams, when normally these games would attract only about 10,000 spectators, and a large section of the fans had come over from East Berlin for the day, receiving free tickets. Just a few months later, on 27th of January 1990, came the first match between Hertha and Union in 28 years. An official attendance of 51,270 was recorded at the Olympic Stadium, though the actual total is believed to have been higher in a night of celebration for Berlin. Spectators were basically holding each other in their arms and celebrating, recalls former Hertha forward Sven Kirchmer, who played in the 2-1 loss before the two sides went out for dinner together. We're showing you the Olympic Stadium as this is where Hertha play, and I know I committed a crime here because there's such a story to this place around the 1936 Olympics, Hitler using it as a propaganda event, the great feats of Jesse Owens. So I promise you we will come back and redo the Berlin Olympic Stadium and talk about its rich history. So it's goodbye from the Angdon Flaneurs. We'll see you again soon.